What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. I'm excited to be here. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Hola. Welcome to my Mayhem Streamcast. We're here to talk about mental health, disability, different traumas in our life to create conversations, acceptance, and opportunities. I always give a little trigger warning right at the beginning. These are discussions that can be difficult in nature and mature. These are our experiences. We share them as our own, but we know that hopefully they can benefit somebody else. And maybe we can also save a life because that's so important with everything that's going on out there in the world. So we're here to kick off another week. Hi and welcome. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm your host, DJ. My visual descriptor, I'm a female Latina brunette with silver streaks and olive skin, brown eyes, and red lipstick on my smile. I'm wearing a red shirt, Wonder Woman representing. Feeling good. And it's Labor Day today, so happy Labor Day to everyone out there that celebrates here in the U.S. that is not laboring, hopefully, today and resting. If you're new to my show and you want to follow me, please do. I would love the follow, the subscription, the support. You can follow me at Silver Fox Talks across my social medias. I'm streaming today to LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram and I'm making reels. I didn't post one Friday, but I will. I have a few actually that I have to post. So I'll get to those when I can. Got a lot of things cooking. It's been exciting. I've been really busy in the month of August. And look at that. September just came and swooped right in. And here we are already. But I just want to say, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, if you're looking to build your brand or business and you need a live stream, want to learn to live stream, I'm available. I've got so many things going on, helping you with consultations. We can strategize. Please connect with me on my website or send me a direct message. I also respond to those. Those are difficult to get to, but I do try to check them as frequently as possible. And I'm also making a new community. I'm so excited to share with everyone, and it's going to be really, really great. I will get to that here in a little bit. But of course, thank you to Restream for powering this live as we're out multi-streaming to all the channels. And I really love Restream. So, if you want to get in on this live streaming action and sign up for Restream, I got a code for you to upgrade your plan. And I want to say thanks to Canva, because Canva always makes all my graphics and, it's just an easy tool to use. So yes, thank you to Canva. Okay, we're going to get to it. I know I have a guest waiting backstage. I don't like keeping them waiting, but these are the things we have to get through sometimes. It's just the way it goes. But another quick note, really excited, and it's Monday, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. We're good. I think I covered everything. All right. Let's get to this guest intro because I'm really excited for this conversation tonight. I am excited to present somebody who's, had to give me some schooling on what business analysis was, but we're going to talk about that. He's a business analyst. Yes, business analyst, technical writer, project manager. He's also a digital artist. He's neurodiverse and he's a parolee. And so tonight we have Miguel Nieves, and he loves his brainy personality, his Aspberger superpowers, as he calls them. He's studied biology, but he's been fascinated with technology since he was little. He taught himself to code by the time he finished high school. And he also lived in Canada where he worked for the federal government with a lot of high-profile projects. I'll leave it at that, and I'll let him get into it. But after an incident, he was sentenced to 7.5 years, but he was released on good behavior, and he's currently under parole. He is seeking employment, so really I want to extend this. If anyone can help Miguel out, if anybody is touched by Miguel's story and connects with him, please reach out to him and talk to him and connect with him because he is open for opportunities. But Miguel needs employment with a verifiable business in a felony-friendly state. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Meanwhile, Miguel has started his own web design business. And I can't wait to hear about that because I just love it. So let's go ahead and bring on Miguel.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming on my show this week and being my
Thank
guest.
you. Thank you. Do I have to do a physical descriptor too?
You don't have to, but it's good practice, and it's something we do for accessibility purposes. I'll give for to help those that are visually impaired. If they're just people tuning in audio, they kind of can create that vision, that imagery in their head, and it kind of just helps, right?
Oh, okay. So, I'll go with tall, dark, and handsome Latino male with long curly hair
Okay.
and beautiful smile.
Yeah, you got glasses.
I
You
got
also wear these
glasses.
glasses, and you got what is this? A beard or a goatee? What do
This,
you call that? A little
I
fluff.
things don't work here. They don't connect.
That's okay.
So there's something, but and a
That's okay.
pink shirt.
And a
And
nice collared shirt.
yes,
Nice,
yes,
nice.
yes.
Okay, so very nice. Look at that. Listen, and you know the wonderful thing about that is usually doesn't change, right? Your physical appearance for the most part. It's just quick, it's easy. You keep that in there, and it really just shows how inclusive you want to be and how welcoming you can be to those that are may have some vision impairment. So thanks for hanging out and like doing that with me. Woohoo. Okay, the
No problem.
chat is already coming in. So let's go say hi to the chat. Chat. Say hi to Miguel. Let's welcome Miguel and say hi. Let's see who's here. I know I've got the best mod ever that's been sitting with me since like inception here. So
Oh,
Mackenzie,
yeah.
thank you for being the best mod ever, checking all my channels, my Twitch, my LinkedIn, my YouTube. Um, and we got Kenny D. What's
I know
up,
Kenny
Kenny
D.
D? What's up, Kenny D? Savor the flavor, my friend, of awesomeness in you peeps. Listen, I can never really just share, but Dwellin's here. What's up, Dwellin from Phoenix, Arizona? Oh, I see a connection
Oh,
happening.
we gotta
I see
connect.
we got a connection
We gotta
happening,
connect.
Dwellin. Yeah, yeah, I think you're in for a good one, Dwellin, if you hang in here for us with the conversation. All right, Kenny, tonight's conversation will be delectably scrumptious. Yeah, I never can say it. Aunt's in the house. What's going on? Thank you for hanging out, always showing support to the show, my friend. You're the man. You are busy, and I still can't believe you take the time. We got Rosemary here. Hi, Rosemary. She says, "Hey, Miguel."
Miguel.
So, Miguel. Yes, yes. Oh, listen, this is great. We have a paired channel. Neela, here to support your bro, Miguel. What's up, Neela?
Hey,
All
hey.
right, I love it. This is what Restream's all about. See, because we're on my channels, we're on your channel, on your LinkedIn, and look at that. You got your friend, your support here. So this is great.
Absolutely.
All right, Miguel. I think we've done a little buttering up to the audience and welcoming everybody. So let's share a little bit about you. I can't wait to hear about this. The background and when you were telling me about business analyst and what all that was. But we'll get there. You're brainy, so tell me
Yeah.
all about the brainy.
Well, like I didn't realize I had Asperger's till later in life. I just knew I was slightly different from like a younger age, and it was hard to explain. I grew up in a Puerto Rican household. You know how that is. They don't make
Wepa.
excuses. Yeah, exactly. They don't make no excuses. They're like, I don't care if you're handicapped or not. They just everybody's the same. And so I was about almost 40 years old when I discovered I had Asperger's, which is probably a good thing because I didn't do that pity me thing. I just worked harder to learn. I am very like I see things a couple of times and they stick, and then I immediately my brain goes, well, how can we improve that? Which is really bad, especially in some business owners don't like that because they're like, well,
Right.
I worked 20 years to create this process, and here comes Joe Schmo, a 25-year-old kid who comes and demolishes the process and makes one better. And instead of being appreciative, it just upsets some people. So I learned to keep my mouth shut. But as a I started as a software developer, and
Oh.
anytime that a business analyst will come in, and that's who gathers the requirements for the software. So essentially he's the middleman between the end user of the software, us, and the project manager. And I realized that they were not doing all the asking all the questions that they needed to ask, all the right questions. So I will actually have to go back and kind of like ask more questions myself. And before I knew it, I was in a business analyst role, and before I knew it, I was managing my own team. So next thing you know, I'm also the project manager. So I'm doing project manager, a team lead, I'm coding, I'm doing everything at
Oh.
once. So, but that's how I grew into the role. It's not like one day I said, I'm going to go to school and study this and
Hmm.
learn it. I learned it, gradually, which I guess the learning curve is there. And from experience, I got to see like what worked and what doesn't work, which a lot of times they're gonna tell you you're not gonna find in a book. Knowing what strings to pull and when to pull them is two different things.
Ooh, okay. Now you already mentioned like coding, all right? You started as a
Yes.
kid, like you just were fascinated by that.
Yeah. I taught myself how to code.
And you told me you
Um,
had the big old chunky computer, like the
yes.
big
This was
box.
this was an ancient computer, but we learned something called also a logo. And logo was like you're giving it commands. It's almost like basic. You're giving it directions of angles and directions, and it was it was the original way of doing artwork. Like if people got to see that and then compare it to like Canva, for example,
Oh
it's night and
yeah, that's
day.
me.
It's
Yeah.
night and day. Yeah,
Drag and drop for me, please.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's how I ended up getting into that, and I love project management because I learned quickly how to integrate teams. I can see a group of people, and I could tell you sometimes like, okay, you eliminate those two people, that team will be more effective. A lot of people think that it's about adding, but when you understand how people work, and like that's like my Asperger's has me people watching all day long. That's I just can't help it. I get more of a conversation in somebody's body than from what they're telling me. So in
I
time
like that.
I will look at a whole team and I said, well, these two people really not helping. Yeah, you guys can, go your merry way and keep doing what you were doing. But this is the team. And a lot of people get upset or something like that. You made the team smaller, but you making it more effective. And in terms of communication, eliminate some layers and speeds things up. So
But
I
isn't that what any business wants? The efficiency, the like the cutting out the extras that you don't need, trimming the fat, as they say, right? Like
so
many.
you're absolutely right, and it's funny because what I was doing back then didn't have a name when I was doing 20
Oh,
years ago, but now it's called agile. Like if you talk about agile project management, it has a name right now.
what's
So
that?
I
Hmm.
didn't know what I was doing back then. It actually evolved into something that now people study, get certified. I'm not certified on it, but I could tell you what, from experience, I probably take the certification test and pass it because I know what works. You know,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
But I've actually,
interesting. That's really
yeah.
cool.
So I've actually seen project management develop from. Let me ask you a bunch of questions. Let me develop a software. Let me bring it back to you, and you go, That's not what I wanted." Instead, these days, we grab little edible morsels, we develop those, and then we take it to the next level when the client goes, the end user, whoever it is, stakeholder, goes, "Oh, we like that." So they're testing at the same time they're developing, at the same time they're asking the questions of what we need next. So by the time the project is done, guess what? You really don't have to do testing. It's already been done all along, and it
Mm.
saves you money in the time. So it's actually one of those important things that people just don't realize. If you do that with all of your projects, you'll end up, oh, we flip places.
Yeah, that happens.
I thought it was the
I might
host for a
be
second.
having connection issues. I think that was me. So let me just go ahead and put it. Something happens. You're going to keep going because I don't know if I'm having connection issues. So I
Oh,
apologize.
oh, I
Yeah.
did. I did not stop. I thought the show was mine now.
Oh, yeah. No, if you keep going and if I fall off, you get the show. But okay, real quick, because since we just kind of lost, we're in pause. Let me go here
Yes.
real quick to the comment. I want to say, okay, so Kenny says a biological software analyst. Don't know what that is, but thank you. We can talk
Ooh.
about that. Mackenzie says, as a technician, I used to find that disconnect between engineering and production.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and respect for the digital arts. And one pair, who is this pair? Hi, LinkedIn user. I don't know your name, but I love this. I just have to compliment you on your hair, Miguel. Those
Oh,
curls are
thank you.
absolutely amazing, and I wish I had them with those star eyes. Thank you, LinkedIn user. Leave your name so we know who you are if you feel like sharing. Kenny D said, I love that pulling strings and knowing when to pull them. Savor the flavor, awesomeness in that. All right, someone that speaks the language, apparently.
Yeah. A
Oh, and
penny
Philip.
knows.
Hi, Philip. Thanks for hanging out with us and checking in from Los Angeles.
Los
All right.
Angeles.
Yes, Los Angeles.
Los
Okay.
Angeles. Oh, he lost the show. It's not mine. Um, so the other thing that we wanted to talk about. Oh, hold on. Yeah,
Oh,
you
man.
you doing it again.
I don't know what it is. It's the connection.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
it's all the iguanas hanging off the line outside.
must be. All right, all right. Let's keep it rolling before we're down to 45 minutes. So, I don't know. You can't help technology sometimes.
Yes.
Here, I'll pop us over. All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Yeah, I need to be in the right this
So go
month.
for it. Go for it. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Please continue. You've got these incredible skills and like you've been doing this for a really, really long time. Like you did this and
Yes, I
you talk.
I've been doing this like I'm about to be 48 in a couple of days. So I've been doing
Ooh,
this for I know, right? Uh, I've been doing this for over 25 years in the IT industry. Um, I've taught,
excellent.
IT classes. I've pretty much had my finger in every part of IT, from networking to computer repairs. And when I started in IT, you had to be like your own IT department. Companies could barely afford an IT guy, so you had to be their web designer. You had, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I learned all of that. Then you had to, oh, we need a software. Can you do it? Well, let me figure it out. And it went like
I'll
that.
learn it.
Yeah, we need a database guy. Well, I guess that's me. If you didn't want to lose your job 20 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago, you had to do everything across the board. And I know Kenny is a he's a scientist, and I met a lot of people who gone to grad school and got their PhDs that worked in labs, and they coded their own software because the tools did not exist. So back then, like, people these days, they have it easy. They don't realize 25 years ago, in software design, you had to do so much work on your own, and that's how it was to maintain. So I became like a one man, like wrecking team of an IT department. Hey, my computer went down, I had to fix it. Network went down, fax machine. Oh, my website is missing this page. The software is doing this, and you get to learn all aspects of the business. And since I learned how to code early on, I've watched the whole internet develop. Like, I consider the internet like one more of my children. I've
Yeah.
actually seen what I've
I
seen
could
it how to
see that. I
develop.
could see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you were there from like the very beginning and just
exactly.
even watching Google, right? Like, where did that? So I could only imagine like the perspective that you have in watching the internet develop.
Yes,
Fascinating.
yes.
Wow, wow, wow. I wanted to talk a little bit about the digital artist in you then, because that's so different, right? Yeah, let's check out that art. That's so different, but it's not. So give me a little bit of,
So
the
so
artistic side, the
I have been
creativity.
I have been doing art pretty much my whole life. That's my stress reliever. But I never realized that, like, I never showed it with anybody. Like, I shared it to, like, I was married once, so I used to share with my ex-wife and a couple of inner friends that got to see my art. I never sold it, I never publicly displayed it. It was just a way of me, like releasing my emotions as an autistic person. Usually words just don't match what I'm trying to convene. And they say a picture is 1,000 words. Well, guess what,
Mm.
this right here is about 10,000 words right here. I'm a Buddhist, so I could take some liberties at times to put Buddhist elements into my artwork, but that was something that, like,
Wow.
that I just kept to myself. And when I came out of prison, which, by the way, today is day 101. um
101. Yes.
yes, it's my anniversary. But what I learned was, like, my all my portfolio was gone, everything that I had done. And I was like, I don't see it as art, I see it as emotion that I've stored. And that was kind of like, kind of sad for me. But I started working. I actually had somebody give me an Apple laptop, and I started doing a lot of artwork. And she's amazing. She actually hooked me up with this headset and everything. And
Yeah, sounds
back
great.
no, she was just very awesome. I put the word out on LinkedIn, and she came on and actually helped me out. And so I started doing more artwork, and I've been doing that. And I'm thinking of actually starting an art gallery, because for the first time ever, it's my art that's paying my bills. I think I was telling you, I grew up in a Puerto Rican household where art is not supposed to pay your bills. Hard work, keeping your nose in the grind does.
Mhm.
So I always did, woodworking, airbrushing, painting, but that was like something I did behind the scenes. Like, nobody knew. It was just me, my own. And now all of a sudden I'm doing this in front of people, and I'm sharing it, and I'm getting really good feedback. And like, I'm like, well, it's been paying the bills. I've been doing like LinkedIn banners, Facebook banners, a lot of graphics. And I'm like, you know what, maybe my art can pay the bills, you know. And to be
And
fair,
not just Canva, not making it in Canva like me.
no,
Like real good quality programs, right? Like,
yes, yes, obviously, Photoshop and other
yeah.
technical tools and things like that. But yeah, so I mean, there's so many things you can use out there to actually like create your artwork. And recently I did some bartering. Look, bartering is a lost art. I don't think people know how to do it. I helped somebody fix their
Ooh,
website up, and in turn, they ended up giving me an iPad, and it was a brand new iPad. So I was able to do that as well. You know, you barter your work, and
nice.
it's not
Yeah.
always about cash. Sometimes you got to be creative with how you get things.
Innovative.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's using those skill sets, your strengths, right?
yeah,
Like really putting those talents to good use and pushing yourself out there. I love it. Okay, LinkedIn user. I'm sorry I don't have your name. I can't give you a shout out. Says entrepreneurship is going to be super helpful as you transition, Miguel. So
yes, I agree.
it's exciting. Miguel did our banner for Talent Strategy 60. There we go, and did a great job. Highly recommend.
Yeah,
All right, he's highly make sure we put a recommendation on your LinkedIn profile for that. Yeah.
yeah, that's Dr. Jim
Okay.
right there. Yeah,
Oh, Okay, so we
yeah,
gotta say thank you so much for supporting the conversation and Miguel today, fellow artist here. Okay, Mackenzie, yes, yes, yes. Formerly trained as a commercial artist and in fashion design, but I became a traditional artist and filmmaker. Love the inclusion of your personal self in your work. What is your inspiration? Ooh,
oh, that's easy. Here's the thing, like you see the darkness and then you see the light. That's a transition I'm going through right now. As a felon, people don't realize what happens after you come out of prison. People assume that just because you're out of prison, you're done serving your time, and the reality is far from that. Businesses do background checks, especially at the skill level that I'm at. I'm going to be touching databases that belong to clients, so they do background checks. Trying to get an apartment as a felon, unless you like to be in the side of town that gets everybody gets shot every now and then, that's where you're gonna end up at. You're not gonna be able to live in the nicer side of the tracks. Um, it's so many things that just really hold you back. And, as a parolee, I gotta pay fees. Like they could put you to classes in the middle of when I'm supposed to be having an interview, or I could be at work. They can actually call me and I gotta do a urine analysis. That means I gotta go and test for drugs. Although I don't have any drug charges, that is pretty much something that they're gonna make you do as part of your conditions. No drugs, no drinking. So it's very hard for you to keep a straight line when they're constantly deviating you from that line on purpose. And I'm not saying they're doing it intentionally, but it's hard to get that momentum going when all of a sudden you got a great interview lined up, your final interview, and all of a sudden they say no, you got to go now. you know and
mhm.
like I said, I just got out, 101 days away. So I don't even have, a car. Public transportation out here is not the greatest. You could wait out in the sun in 110 degrees for 2 hours. So it's
Yep.
it's it's tough. It's
Mm.
tough. So you got to keep marching on and just threading along with what you're doing. But so in the art, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the positive. It's a desert landscape. There's still scorching, but you still see flowers in there. If you look at the horizon, which is my Buddhist side is looking forward, you see some clarity, you see some light in the future. And that's pretty much what I was doing in there. Um, most of my work is not always like that. I've done some fluffy pieces, some pretty pieces as well. But this is what art is. It's a self-expression. DJ, are you sure you don't want to take the afternoon off? Like I got
I
you.
know. This has never happened, but you know what? I told you I told you like you need to get out there and have your own show. You got this. You got this. I can already tell. No. I'm just sad that I missed that last little piece. I was like so listening tentatively to your expression. So I'm unfortunate I didn't catch that and I'll have to go catch the replay. But you brought up some interesting things and I appreciate really going into your story about being released and 101 days and all these barriers all in front of you that you constantly have to deal with, that even though you're done serving that time, that still there's so many effects after it, right? With everything you said about the fees, the lack of transportation, finding housing. And I know that when I had this conversation with Chris when he was a guest, it's really similar in the sense like Now you're coming out, you have a family to take care of, you have responsibilities that were, that are there that you still have to figure out and navigate through to learn how to provide and get back to, the way it used to be, and finding a career, building your professional, right, resume up, as they say. So, wow. And then the tests and the constant deviating, and then even like a drug test, I didn't even really realize that when it has nothing to do with that. um it's
And
just,
and here's the thing: it's not just the drug test itself; it's the way
yeah.
it's administered. So
Mm.
while you're doing your tests, because people, I guess, used to try to cheat the system, so you may have other 2 or 3 males watching you while you're doing this. So it's
Oh,
it's
wow,
it's,
yeah.
it's
It's
not my favorite part of the day.
dehumanizing. Yeah, no, but that I
Yes.
can see how. Okay, I closed it because I had found some information, and I'm not one too much for statistics. I think you're more of a statistics person than I am.
Yes.
But just like all the things that come from that experience of going to prison and going through all that, and how that really truly affects you, and just being on the other side of it now and have to put your life back together. And you did 7.5 years, so it's not like you did 1 year, 2 years. I mean, that is a substantial amount of time that really has to
Yeah.
have some sort of emotional effect, psychological effect, and to really have to navigate through that. Hopefully you have some sort of assistance, some support or something. uh
So
to,
I'm gonna tell you right now, I think I was too stupid to realize what was going on even while I was in prison. So
oh, wow.
I remained who I was. So as a project manager and working in projects, when you're getting towards the end of a milestone or the end of a project, you're working extra hours, and you're like, I used to like locking myself up in my office, just going to town and working, being up for a
Hmm.
couple of days at a time. So being in a cell became very comfortable in a way of nobody's bothering me. I was writing legal motions.
Okay.
I also have a
Studying a
paralegal
lot.
degree. Yeah, so I have a paralegal degree, so I was using that to actually help me out, and I was helping a lot of people out in the process. There's I know you mentioned Chris, but people don't realize prison has its own bartering system, its own finance system. Like
Mm.
if I do legal work for you, there's a commissary store, and you could pay me with food,
Hmm.
because not
Hmm.
everybody wants to eat the food that's there. If I write a motion for you, let's say somebody got a ticket for being out of place, or they failed that UA in the prison. You gotta fight that process. So I was the legal beagle in the yard. That's how I made my money. Like,
Oh, wow.
so
A
yeah.
legal
So
beagle. I love that.
his it comes with some protections, and I wish Chris was here, because one of the protections is nobody ever hurts the legal beagle. Like
Somebody tag
that's
Chris. Somebody tag Chris real quick.
somebody get Chris on this thing.
Ah. All right, when's your show coming? There it is. See, look, I'm telling you, Miguel, you got to get out there. You got to start getting up on the camera there. I know, right? Right. Okay. Kennedy says, Miguel, you have such a strong personality. Allow no one or nothing to hinder your dream for success. I'm
Thank
telling
you,
you.
Kenny. Thank you.
You should check out his Predator stuff. I don't know what that
That's
means.
that's that's my artwork. That's my artwork.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I did some Alien
Gotcha.
Predator stuff, and it just, it's very 3D poppy-ish, and
Cool.
a lot of people liked it, actually. Yeah.
Legal Beagle. Okay, Legal Beagle. Learning how to navigate through the inner prison systems.
Yeah.
Take
Well,
care of yourself, right? And
you,
learning, education, skill building. I mean, you maintain that while you were
yeah.
incarcerated.
Well,
So, and you
I
got on
actually,
good behavior, so that's important to know. And you can talk a
yes.
little bit about that.
So I got on good behavior. I only had one ticket when I was in prison, and that was because I was out of place, and I was out of place because, and it's not one of the written rules. Every yard seems to have their own written rules. And this yard, you can leave from one building to another building. And I was in another building getting my hair braided. So, to be fair, that was it. It was not like, they put in the report, well, he lied to us. He said that he was there for something else. I don't remember what bullshit story I told him. I just didn't want the ticket. So, but I was there strictly to actually that was the only ticket I ever caught. People were caught
Mm.
stealing food from the kitchen. People steal other things from the kitchen to make hooch, alcohol.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
trust me.
Mm. Mm.
So there's a lot of things that happen that get people tickets, you know.
I
Um,
got it. You got a tattoo? You got a present tattoo?
oh God, no, no, no.
He's like, oh God, no. I had to ask. I'm sorry. I had to ask. Impulsive
The
question. Go
only
ahead.
a prison tattoo comes with its own gift, and we call it hepatitis C.
Wow. Well, I just had to ask. You're making hooch. I assume there's like somebody out there inking for their skill sets, right? For their bartering contributions.
But people actually do that. They do ink,
Right.
and
Right.
if you saw how they did the ink,
I
it
love
would actually
tattoos. I guess, if I went to prison in any case, then I should be careful for that. And I'll be mindful of that if that was ever
yes.
to be part of the story here. Note taken.
Yeah, don't go to prison. It's not a good
No, no.
place.
No, wow. I mean, it's not to make a joke of, but
Yeah.
just to be here now, free, sitting, telling your story, and really just trying to turn your life around, find that opportunity. I told you, write a book. You've got so much to offer. You got that voice. And I know you made that little comment when we were talking. Oh my goodness.
I
Who's
got the
this? Who's tramp stamp? Richie. Hi,
That was a
Richie.
secret, Richie. That was a secret. Come on.
I love it. He's lying. He called you out.
It's
Okay.
so it's Garfield. I don't know. Okay.
Oh. What's this, Mackenzie? You have Yatjua art. Where can we find it? What is that? You might have to drop a little more in the comments and let us know what you mean by that. But oh my gosh, my gosh. Okay. Continue. No, bartering systems. Yes, that's part of it. That wasn't your part of it. So
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, no. No, no, no. But yeah, so it's everybody has a little hustle in prison. So everybody that comes out of prison that tries to start a business is because they were doing that in there. There were guys who
Mm.
did the laundry. You know, if you work outside of the prison, some people do. They got that clearance. They too tired when they come home because they get 10 cents an hour. Some people get made 20 cents an hour, depending where you're at. Some people may make $1, but that's very rare. For the most part, you're making 10, 20, 30 cents an hour. That's it. I got lucky that I became a peer facilitator, and I taught
Mm.
I taught web design classes. I ran a newsletter. I became as a matter of fact, my roommate was the one who he actually got me to be part of a newsletter. And when I got moved to another yard, I started a newsletter. So I was able to educate people, be very positive, have a positive message, and that actually helped me keep busy during those a lot of years. That was one of my things besides reading books and helping people out was this newsletter. And it's funny because the director of prison, David Shin, he canceled it. He believed that inmates were communicating illegally through it for other purposes. And it's funny because when it got
Mm.
canceled, we had about 750 upset inmates in our yard. And they will ask me, and I would just say, go to the yard office and find out why. You know,
Wow.
yeah, they were not happy that I was sending them up there.
Probably not. Probably not. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. 30 minutes goes quick, especially when you're having technical issues. Okay. Mackenzie did clarify that the predators are the Yua. I don't
Yet you
know.
are.
I don't
That's
watch that. I don't know anything about that. I don't know.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
mix I mix the predators and the aliens into this abstract art that looks like skulls, and like it looks like a
Oh,
abandoned castle. I'll have to. I don't have it online yet, but I'm going to. I just posted on my profile, so go to my profile,
okay.
scroll because I post too much every day, and you'll find it.
That's good. That's good. You got to post, got to be out there
Yeah,
showing your artwork,
yeah.
showing those talents. Do you want it? So you want to stay looking for a job with business? And what is it, analyst or what we were talking about before? Are you like looking for something more artistic and mixing the two, like kind of, I don't
See,
know. How's that looking
look.
for you? What do you,
I'm, I'm a
I
very
think you're just like, hey, bring it on. Any opportunity is a good opportunity right now. But
Exactly, and that's
yeah.
where I'm at right now. I mean, like, I don't want to say this, but Wendy shot me down. Wendy said I was overqualified,
Mm,
and I didn't even give him my full resume. But I've
yeah.
been going through the process of interviewing, and in IT takes a little longer. But I've gone all the way to as many as 8 interviews already in the 3 months, And I actually had two managers that wanted to hire me, but their HR department said no, he's still on parole. And the problem with that is they are assuming that because they don't know me, and I don't blame them, but they're assuming that I could potentially still do something stupid that will land me in prison again. When in reality, they don't know that them giving me a job will be the one thing that's actually going to stop me from going back to
Help
prison.
you, right? Prevent. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
helps you. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So I think that's important. And I don't mean to interrupt. Really think this is important because you said 101 days, 3 months. You've got to get a job. It's really in your benefit to get a job as soon as possible. Find some sort of opportunity. You've been doing hardcore interviewing, so
yes,
and you're open. Let's see. You may want to look at Miguel, you may want to look at the creative side for startups. That could be your niche. Yeah. Well,
yes.
I love it. Yeah, no. I mean, you've got all that talent. Oh, what was I going to say? So, and tell me about the parole and the employment then and the timeline, like the importance of that, really. So we can try to help you or we can share or we can find a way to, make you some connections. Who are the people that you need to be speaking with? I mean, hiring managers, recruiters that understand the situation. And I know that there's like tax, the
Yes,
help
it's a tax.
for,
Yes,
oh God, what
it's a
is it
tax.
called?
It's a tax credit. It's a tax credit.
There's a tax credit
Yes,
and then there's the other one, the other incentive that they give. The federal oh my gosh, it's like an insurance, right? I'll look it up. Go ahead, you talk,
bonded.
I'm gonna
When you
look
get
up
when you're bonded.
the Florida
Yeah,
the federal bond. Thank you. The
yeah, yeah,
federal bond
yeah,
program. So that's
yeah.
another thing, right? If you have an employer, there's a federal bond that they can put there to
And it's
kind of,
free. Yeah.
yeah. So I know about a little bit about that. We can get more information for that. But you need an employer that's going to step up and
Yes.
say, yes, we're willing to hire you, willing to take you and have you join our team.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm open to anything because I know what I bring to the table. And like, not to be cocky, but I know that any business that has me actually has an asset, not a liability. On
Yeah.
paper, it doesn't may not look like that, but I think, like, that's the reason I don't care if I start entry level again, because I know once I get my foot in the door, I'm able to prove, and showcase my skills across the board. And I get bored if I'm not doing anything. I'm the kind of guy that always has to be doing something.
You're a go getter.
Oh no, I am, and it's like my mind is constantly running. That's my Asperger's. You remember what I told you? I could actually sit in the same chair for 9 hours. My roommate actually, he comes from work. He's like, "That's exactly where I left you this morning."
Got to get it done, right?
Yeah, so it's, and sometimes he has to tell me, he's like, "Dude, like, you gotta eat something," because I completely skedaddle my time, but I'm actually just focused doing work. Like my
Yeah.
website, I pulled that website in 24 hours. Um,
Okay, yes. Let's share your website. I know I have it here somewhere. Okay, phoenixweb.design.
yes.
So
And
continue. That's your
yeah,
website.
yeah.
Hmm.
So by the way, in that website, I was thinking about how can I simplify it, because everybody thinks of big flashy websites, but if you have high speed internet connection, you're good. Think about it. Right now, you're having internet connections. If you live in the middle of this country and you need web design, you're not gonna be able to load one of these websites that's heavy graphic and video intensive. You actually have to be inclusive.
Oops. I'm trying to.
This is an inclusivity show, right? You have to be inclusive of those people that are in the middle of the country who actually are not able to actually access a website. And I learned that long time ago. And to be fair, like, I correlate this to, like, the Y2K issue.
Oh, okay.
So people back then, the Y2K issue was that developers were only using the last two digits of the dates in their code. Instead of putting 1960 and 1970, they're putting 70 or 60. When it hit
Hmm.
double zeros, a lot of these applications take that as being off. So everything was going off. So they had to change that. As memory became more abundant in laptops and devices, people started creating bigger devices, bigger websites, bigger videos, and they're no longer concerned with, if you have, how many gigs of RAM you have in your laptop these days. They expect you to have the latest and greatest, and if you can't see the website, you're out of luck. The way I,
Hmm.
the way I did my website, I'm still thinking there's somebody out there with Windows 95 who actually wants to see my site. So
Wow. You really are inclusive there. All right, that's
yes,
great.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So simple, simplicity, clean,
Exactly. Clean
light on the
lines.
graphics,
Yeah,
light
very
on the
light.
videos.
Exactly.
I might have to reconsider. I feel like you keep piling on pages and graphics, just thinking more is better. That's so terrible.
We could do artwork with little stick figures. Do the whole episode of stick figures.
Oh, that
Like
might
like
help my
like
connection.
yeah, like Doodly. You use that software. You're able to do that.
I've seen that. Yeah, yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen that.
the
I've
little
seen
hand
that.
draws it. Yeah.
Ah,
It's-
that is I've always wondered how they make those, but I know it should be like you just submit the audio, right?
yeah.
You have to submit an audio file, and I don't know how they do the doodlies though.
Oh, it's a software. $67. I just saw it online 2 days ago.
Add it to your freelance thing of work that you do for people.
I
Okay, okay,
will.
okay. I do want to make a note here that the reason you went to prison has nothing to do with your employment or your work, and it should in no bearing, have any sort of um what's the word? Um it
Should
shouldn't
not.
affect your work opportunity, right? Because there
Yes.
that one thing has nothing to do with another, and that I think that people like mistaken, right? And
Yeah.
everything just kind of rolls over. Um, like you were saying, like they think that everything's just out of your brain. You don't really like you for
Yeah.
lost all your memory of what you used to do
Yeah.
or how to do it for that matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Think about this. The staff that works for
And the
the par-
liability part
well,
too,
well,
right?
think about this. In parole, they had me doing the
Yeah.
UA test, although I don't
Hmm.
have a drug charge. That means
Hmm.
that they still assume that because I went to prison, I'm gonna be doing drugs and alcohol and these other things. So if they
Yeah.
who work with inmates all day long believe this, imagine what everybody else whose perspective about inmates and prisoners comes from movies. Imagine what they're thinking. I talked to a lot of people on LinkedIn and other platforms where they tell me, "Oh, you sound very eloquent for somebody who went to prison." Really? like I was not
Hmm.
intelligent. I did not exist before prison. I had no experiences in my work, in my area of expertise before prison.
Right.
I was not a subject matter before prison. I did not exist at all. I just
That's
came out of prison and I said, I'm going to be a software developer, a project manager. No, it doesn't work like that. They got to look at if you want to look at my past, at my criminal past, you might as well keep going back before that crime occurred and start looking at my all the things that I've done at that point.
mm,
Look at everything that I brought to a table for other employers. And I have a ton of employers that are willing to give references. Like I work
yeah.
for Fox Shocks, who are now their Fox company. You got Fox
Hey.
Head, Foxtail,
Cool.
their Foxtail. I work
Nice.
for them. I mean, like I work with a lot of big companies, government. The beginning you
Yeah, the
mentioned,
government. I mentioned at the beginning. Yeah, please do
yeah.
tell a little bit about that. Like, I didn't even know what that was. So, ooh, special
So,
projects.
so I mean, like in Arizona, I work for a Department of Agriculture, and I was writing software that was consolidating entire departments into an app. So people were kind of getting fired because of that, but that's what happens when the government's trying to save money.
Okay.
When I lived in Canada, I worked with the Department of Defense. I worked with the Refugee and Immigration Board, Library and Archives, Navigation
Wow.
Canada. Like these were all high profile projects that I was working on, and technically I was recruited. Like I had a couple of friends in Canada, and they were like, "Look, we need this skill set up here," and they paid to actually have me up there, and I worked out there for 10 years. I will still be
Yeah.
there, but I wanted to move back to the United States and uh, do different things. After a while, you get tired of something like that. For 10 straight years doing the same thing. But I'm looking for
But you're from
something.
you were born in New York, right? I think you're
I was
or
born
where
in
were you
Puerto
born?
Rico. I was born
You're
in
born
Puerto
in Puerto
Rico,
Rico.
but
Okay,
I
okay.
was yeah, I
And you
was
ended
raised
up in
in Harlem.
Canada.
Yeah,
How did you end up in Canada? Okay, that's
I've,
cool.
I've ended
But
in
that's a
worse
lot of good
places.
experience. Yeah, no. So you were recruited for those skill
Yes.
sets, highly demand, I assume.
Yes, yes. At the time we were using software. I don't even remember what it was called. Plumtree. Plumtree was a software that Navigation Canada was using, and apparently there were like 14 people in the whole country that actually knew how to use it. And
Mm,
so I have just been certified in that, and the job offer started coming, on that, and that's how I ended up over there, in Ottawa. But it's I love Canada. Like, one thing we always
Yeah,
joking around about Canadian things, but taxes are higher, but everything's cleaner, and I always found
good.
like people were just friendly across the board. You know,
I have
it's
lots of Canadian friends, so I mean, I've never been there, and I'm in Florida, so I'm like the furthest from Canada that I. So I don't know, but yeah, no, I've heard wonderful things, and I've had a few
yeah.
guests from Canada. I've had lots of friends. I've been invited to Canada, but never been. So I hear it's
Take it.
beautiful,
You should. They're larger than
amazing.
they're
Yeah.
larger than the United States by 10%, and they have California's population. This is the reason why
Seen
Canadians are
that.
so friendly, because they live 20 miles apart from each other. So when they see somebody, they're happy. You know,
Got jokes. Got jokes.
hey, my daughter lives there, so I
Oh,
gotta put that in there.
that's cool. That's good. That's good. Okay. Wow. 46 minutes. I never even played my little commercial. So let me do that. So I feel like I actually accomplished something in this show. So I'm going to play a video. It's going to be for like my little promo. And hopefully my computer won't like completely drop me or take a crap because I've been having problems with it. And now I'm kind of even scared to play the video. But I guess we're gonna go for it. So here we go. Hopefully I won't lose everybody. So hang tight. Let's play this. All right.
Hey, we
Yay.
made it.
We're trying. Yeah, listen. So this is the thing about live streaming. Like you just gotta try new things and that's just the way life is. Like you just never know where you're gonna end up. And sometimes you just gotta like things that are just not you're new that are new to you. So there we go. I just wanted to share that. That has to do with my new mighty networks that I am launching. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, there, my own little plug. Let's keep it moving. Enough about me. Let's get back to you, Miguel. Okay, we have a Canada comment. Okay, Canada is nice. My next door neighbor, LOL. Just an hour drive away because Mackenzie's in New York, so I know that Central New
Yeah.
York. Which makes me want to say Northern New York, but I know that makes no sense.
Plattsburgh, maybe. I
I
went to
don't know.
school in upstate New York, so I went to Brockport.
Upstate. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what they call it. Upstate New
yeah,
York,
upstate New
Central
York.
New York.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Um,
Finger Lakes region. That's the area right there.
Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Wow, we've had a really good conversation. I mean, I've learned a lot about the business analyst and project management and all the software and this tech talk and really like those unique skills that I guess I just haven't really not familiar with. So, is there anything else that we haven't covered when it comes to that? That anything else? Because we're
Oh,
closing down, we're gonna get right, and I just want to make sure we highlight like as many skills
yeah.
of yours as possible. I mean, you've just
Um. Well, I also have a paralegal. This is the reason I'm thinking that I'm better suited for a startup.
okay.
And so here's the thing. Like, I'm trying, and I think I shared this with you. I'm trying to move my parole out of state into a
Hmm.
state that's more felon friendly. And as crazy as that sounds, there's other states that are felon friendly. Michigan, Illinois, even New York,
Holla.
Vermont. Yeah, exactly. So
We're looking at
they're
you, okay? We're looking at you, states.
I know, right? Um, but and that's the thing. So the process to move to another state, like the parole, I gotta pay $250, I believe it is, and
Hmm.
then the process can take anything between 6 weeks to as much as 16 weeks, depending. I mean, you gotta think, is government employees at minimum wage who just really have nothing better to do, they just waste their time. So that's the reason it takes longer. I'm just being truthful.
Oof. Oof.
I
Oof.
mean, hey, I worked for the government before, so I know.
Hey,
Um,
I feel you on that.
and so what I'm looking for is for a legit. job offer that
Mhm.
I can present to them that they can go ahead and verify and say, hey, you know what? I'm trying to hire this guy for, I don't know, dog grooming, whatever it is that you got, and that will get me out of the state. Because once I make it to another state, whether it's a real job offer that will actually allow me to do what I love to do, or you just need me to help you build your business, I'm able to do that. And that's the reason I say startup, that I work better with startups, probably because I'm very artistic at the same time, and I'm very
Yeah.
technical. And as somebody who's kind of like touch all the parts of business, I mean, like, I'm 13 credits away from finishing a bachelor's degree, in business. So it
Congrats.
just, yeah, I had to do a lot of jumping to in order to get that. But I also have a degree in workforce free entry and HR. I also have a degree in paralegal science. So like, I'm constantly learning new things, and I think that I bring so much knowledge that it's not in books, it's personal experience and business wise. And I've seen so many businesses grow, and I've seen businesses fail. You can learn as much from a failure as you can from a
Ooh.
win. you know and I bring that to a startup that limited resources. Money is tight, time is tight, employee knowledge is tight. When you're able to bring all of these and be able to make a business, like, just rise from the ashes, pretty much. To me, like, I get pride when I'm working something, when I'm seeing something being built, like that. That's what keeps me awake. That's what makes me want to get out of bed and just work on it some more. I'm the same way, like with my art, is the same thing. Anytime I'm in a project, I'm that guy that shows up first to work to the office, and I'm usually the guy who turns off the lights when he goes, home. People say, "Oh, they're taking advantage of you." No, to be fair, like, I like it. I'm good at what I do, and I like doing it. So I don't feel like nobody's taking advantage of me. To be fair, I'm eating their snacks. I'm using their Wi-Fi.
I like your the way you look at things, your perspective. That really brings a little extra.
Y-
No, but
y-
that's good. You got to be grateful and for just be that guy, the hardworking, right? Like, and really enjoy the work. I think that's what
yeah,
you're really saying is when you enjoy something, like you can be there all day, and it just feels like because. So I think that that shows a lot, and that says a lot about you, your character, and your, um, like your what you bring, right, to the team,
yeah,
energy, and, like, if you're working, like so it's I think it's great, and God, I really hope you find an opportunity as soon as possible. How long do you have? So what can be the possible repercussions if you don't find employment soon? And you don't have to get into anything too personal, but just, the sense of urgency, right there. The sense of urgency
yeah.
is there. Yes.
No, absolutely. So there, part of an agreement, we sign a contract for being in parole, and it says that we have to find a job. They don't tell you that it's full time, but I'm trying to actually make sure that it's a full time job. I have kids, they're not living with me in this state, but I will also have to support my children. It's for them.
Yes.
And so it's a lot of things that I have to pay for. I'm paying for classes. I'm paying for, like, for being out on parole. I gotta pay for that. People don't realize. So the catch is that you gotta get a job, that you gotta pay for all these classes or fees or whatever they give you, that you gotta be able to go and do your UAs, that you gotta be able to be present when your parole officer wants to come to your house and inspect your place. You have to be able to, like, skip interview, skip work to be ready for when they decide to show up. It is
It
so many.
interferes.
They're interfering with the process that sometimes makes you feel like they just want you to stay in prison. And so I did my 12-week review recently, and I was talking with other people, and 5 people that I know ended up going back to prison because they couldn't find work.
Already?
Yeah, and to be fair, 2 of them were voluntarily. They decided that might as well do the rest of their time, and when they get out, they could just hitchhike out of town. And I see why people are doing that. I'm not trying to do that. I Trust me, I value my freedom. But you have a
Mhm.
lot of people who are actually going down that path. And so having a
Oh,
permanent job, obviously, with housing is the same thing. You come out of prison after 7 years, you have no credit. It's not that you have bad credit. You'll have bad credit, trust me, but it's gonna have no credit. And then without unemployment, how can you get credit? And without credit, how can you get an apartment? And on top of that, the apartments do background checks. Here you're a felon, still active, because you're on parole. You're not gonna get an apartment. So many things cascading, they're going against. You're swimming against the current the whole time. And so you need somebody to throw you like a life vest, a lifeline, in order for you to
Yeah.
be forward. Which is, to be fair, I've been blessed with a lot of people on LinkedIn who's helped me out here and there. People who've actually used my services, web design, um, and that's what's been putting food on my table. And I
Reach
don't think,
out. Reach out to
yeah,
Miguel. Let's go right there. Check it
yeah.
out.
And so that's what I bring a lot to the table, and I think that's something that a lot of people just they want to do the minimum and go back home. And I'm seeing that, like, what is
You
that they
don't come
calling it?
across as that guy anyways,
No,
though. I
oh,
mean,
I could never be that, you know.
you're definitely not the one, like I think you're that one that everyone wants to be around, is excited to work with, full of ideas, different perspectives. I think you have the openness to look at things from different perspectives in the sense of angles, right? So I
Yeah,
just think it's incredible, and I just really hope that you get the opportunity you need, and that this, it works in your favor, because the chances are are against you, right? Like it
yeah,
looks like it's stacked against you, and it's almost, gosh, it's sad to say, on purpose. But the system just does you no favors,
yeah.
really.
Well, I don't want to say some purpose either, but if you look at
Right.
certain things that we talked about, we said prosecutor's office is in the same place where the public pretender's office, and I'm sorry, public defender's office, and the judge's office. They're in the same floor. When you see something like that, it makes you wonder, are they really on our side? Arizona has a lot of private prisons. Private prisons have contracts that guarantee them a certain amount of inmates every year. How can you guarantee crime?
Let's just talk about that. Let's ponder that question for a minute. Okay, private prisons. We're talking about private prisons.
Private prisons. So how
Hmm.
you get a contract. You say, I'm gonna be getting 150,000 inmates this year. How do you guarantee that people are gonna commit crime? Either you're enforcing rules that, what's a good example? Attempted possession. Attempted possession. I met plenty of people in prison with that. You
What?
didn't buy drugs.
Somebody
You,
tell me what attempted possession
yeah.
is.
If there's anybody from Texas, look at attempted possession rules in Texas. It's gonna blow your mind. So you could just be caught in a neighborhood that's not yours. They're gonna look at your license and go, "This is not your neighborhood. What are you doing here?" You say, "I'm just visiting, cruising." They could just charge you on the spot for attempted possession.
Attempting to
Yeah,
possess, because you're
attempting
in.
to possess drugs or something that, without ever having it in your hand, never paying for it, no exchange happened. It's a crime that potentially could have happened but didn't. So
Wow. Wow. Yes. Well, and we had a lot of different discussions on different states and different laws, and just Arizona just not being one of the friendliest to parolees, and or I don't know, civilians, it seems, just to anybody.
hey,
They're just trying to get people in jail, in
yeah.
prison, I
Well,
guess.
what
My
I told you,
goodness. Like
we
that.
have the slogan. The slogan is, "You come on vacation, you leave on probation." That's Arizona's
Yes.
slogan.
I've heard that in Florida too. So definitely, definitely. Okay, Mackenzie, I love that. The privatization of prisons requires recidivism. We didn't even talk about that. We didn't really talk
Yeah.
about that term, but yes. And I had that term pulled up to kind of explain what it is, but I'm just scared. My computer just wants to take a poop on me today. And it doesn't want to like stay away. But that's I don't even like the full meaning. Let me look up a better meaning. The concept of referring one's relapse or returning back to prison. Um, let's see. Yeah, the relapse of criminal behavior, or the tendency to return to previous patterns of behavior, or the act of committing a crime after one has served in jail and returning to. So, but the system doesn't make it easy, right? There I mean, it's barrier after barrier after barrier. And this is something we talked about, I think, last week, was just those basic, our basic needs, right? Our housing, just to be able to work and provide and have food on the table and feed ourselves, and really just have a place to sleep, and stay safe. So it's unfortunate. And I can see why some of those individuals that kind of were released with you have said, you know what, let me just go back, because it's too much. It's the
Yeah.
conditioning that may have happened to them, and it doesn't happen to you, and I'm not saying, but it can happen, right? The conditioning, and they do that. I mean, it's just like the military; they're conditioning you to act a certain way or behave a certain way, and follow order. So,
Yeah, they didn't like me for that reason.
all right, Miguel. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. Go ahead. Let's finish this up. You have been nothing but amazing, sharing your story, sharing um, how we can help you. Like, I love that you've been just so honest and so open about needing employment. This is why this really can affect. It just affects everything, and it blocks one thing, blocks another, and it's unfortunate. So, you know. You're looking for opportunities. You want to connect with individuals, right?
Yes, I'm looking
That's
to
for you.
connect with individuals. Obviously, like housing right now, I'm staying, with my roommate. And he has gone through, the same thing as I have.
Mhm.
That's the reason he understands. A lot of the people that I knew before, like, going to prison, it's like you go to prison, you vanish. I was speaking with a friend of mine the other day where, it's like once you go to prison, the people that knew you, especially if they don't have anybody that's been to prison, they immediately assume the worst from you without ever
Mhm.
talking to you, without getting your uh your version of events. Because anytime that you read something online, especially, and I learned from my case, anytime you see something online, anytime you read a police report's not evidence. It's not accepted by any court. No court will accept a police report. So they put lies in there to actually try to get warrants and things of that nature. As a matter of fact, there's a documentary called Test the Line, which is about police officers going on the stand and just lying. Because if it's one person and it's two police officers in one patrol car, they could back their story. That's the reason why having cameras in all the police departments is critical, because now you could turn off your camera, but it's gonna show why was your camera off when you're supposed to have it on. So we're looking at all kinds of things like that, especially in Arizona where we have so many shootings, so many civilians are getting killed, by police officers. So and that's the other reason why I tried to leave the state. The both mothers of my kid, I got 4 kids in total, and they don't want me to stay here. I don't want to be really in this state. I mean, if I find a job until I'm able to finish my parole in September of
Yeah.
2023, that's one thing. But if I could get a job to actually, essentially a
Move
business,
forward.
give me an
Yeah.
employment offer out of state, that will really help my cause a lot better, because I really don't want to be in a state that essentially their main intention feels like is to bring me back to prison. When you remove all my resources, when you remove everything that I will need, and then you say, well, you're on your own, and if you cannot do it, part of your contract says you got to get a job, you got to go to school, or you got to do this, and if you don't comply, you're going to be sent back. So that's the reason that, like, I actually, like, I think, like, being out of state is just gonna be so much easier. And I've been to other states. Like I said, I lived in New York. I lived in in Cleveland. I lived, and the East Coast, pretty much up and down. My
Mhm.
parents, I think we spoke about. My parents live in Florida, so it's just one of those things. As long as it's what is it? ABA, anywhere but Arizona.
Anywhere but Arizona, folks. Miguel is looking for an opportunity in anywhere but Arizona, an ABA
ABA.
state. I love it. Oh gosh.
I mean, if I find something serious here that could keep me, going until my parole is done, absolutely, I'm in no position to reject anything. But
Sure.
ideally, some other state will actually, be better for my situation. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Wow. 1 minute and four. Okay. So we went a little bit over, but that's okay. You have been, again, absolutely amazing. I've had so much fun talking to you. Thank
likewise.
you for like opening it up and just putting out there, really sharing how hard and how difficult it can be, what that perspective is. I mean, right, having like this career and just doing all this amazing work, and then something happens, your life gets flipped upside down.
Yeah,
And now really you're coming out of it, and you're fighting for, I think, uh
yeah.
for
It's,
your
it's
freedom. You're fighting for your freedom right
that's
now.
what
And
exactly what it is. I'm fighting for my freedom. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so I just, I really want to wish you the best. I hope some opportunities come towards you here sooner rather than later. And you just continue to keep moving forward and staying on the good stuff, on the good path, right? Like
Yeah.
start writing that book, get that digital, do your web design, find that startup that needs you.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, whew, if I had a startup, like a real startup, like a profitable startup,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing skill sets, Miguel. And so I'm just honored to meet you and to learn about you and just to hear everything and just
Thank you.
hear your brainy brain. And get your artwork up.
Yes.
You gotta
Yes.
get your artwork posted on one of those. That's why I was telling about that big cartel, huh, Mackenzie?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had to ask Mackenzie about that big cartel because one of those websites you can put your prints up there, people can order. And then I don't know how. Well, yours is digital art, so
Yes. Yeah. Mine is all
yeah,
digital art. Yeah.
digital art. So all right, okay. So where's the best place people connect with you? Like where's the inbox? Where's
It's in Miguel at phoenixweb.design. That is the best way to reach me, or LinkedIn. I seem to be LinkedIn to LinkedIn all day long. So,
okay?
that's usually my phone
Hit
is
you up
set
on
up.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you can't,
Okay.
the email address. If you haven't added, add me up.
Yeah. And you're out there telling your story, sharing your story, really trying to. So, if anybody has opportunities for you to talk and share your story, and also, um, you know, continue to really put the truth out there of what it's really like, right?
Yeah, actually, on the 16th, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be with Dr. Jim. I'm gonna be in a Friday. I'm gonna be in his show, and we're
Okay.
gonna we're gonna continue this process and see where it takes us.
All right. I love it. Fantastic. Okay. I can't wait to see your artwork out there. I can't wait. I mean, you're going to do it. We're going to get a recommendation on your page. I know that that other, who was it? Doctor, who was
Yeah,
it? Or
it's Dr. Jim, and I got a couple
Dr.
of other
Jim.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will
So,
pronounce his last name, but something tells me that I will be butchering it.
yeah, that's okay.
I want to stay friends with them. So
That's all right. That's all right. Well, I think we had a great conversation. I mean, you have just shared a wealth of skills and your humor and like, your personality. It just shines. So I think anybody would be lucky to have you on their team. Somebody hit up Miguel, please. All right, my friend, we're gonna wave and say goodbye and say thank you to everybody hanging out.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Mackenzie and everybody, and Kenny, and oh God, Rosemary stopped by, and I can't remember who else. Oh God, all the friends, Rosemary, Kennedy,
I'm my
your
friend Neela.
LinkedIn user Richie, Neela came by. I know so many new people. One Philip came by, Aunt came by. All the love, all the love. See, it's all good stuff. All right, I think we're gonna hit it out with my my outro here. All right, bye everybody. Good night. Thank
Bye. Good
you.
night.